They say the sky has secrets. Some believe it harbors forces that act only under specific conditions, when an object reaches a certain speed, when the atmosphere is ripe, or when a plane inadvertently crosses the invisible boundaries of Earth's complex layers. We hear of planes, ships, and people who vanish without a trace, and we can't help but wonder if these disappearances are more than mere coincidences. Is it possible they encountered a natural phenomenon? A sort of atmospheric trap that opened and swallowed them, momentarily distorting space and time? Could there be forces high above that, under just the right conditions, form a doorway into something beyond? Take the Bermuda Triangle, for instance. Its reputation for vanishings is legendary. Ships disappearing without sending distress signals, planes veering off course only to never be found. Flight 19, a squadron of bombers on a routine mission in 1945, was flying under clear skies when its pilots reported compass malfunctions and a strange, unnatural light. Communications soon cut off, and the planes were never seen again. Search teams combed the area, but no wreckage was ever found. In 1918, the USS Cyclops disappeared in the same region, carrying more than 300 people. There were no calls for help, no debris, only empty seas. Imagine you're flying over the Bermuda Triangle, surrounded by what seems like endless open sky. To most, the air around feels intangible, invisible, just something to breathe and move through effortlessly. But what if this air we hardly notice actually holds the key to the triangle's mysteries? When we think about it, air is more than just empty space. It's a thick ocean of particles, a shifting, energetic mass of molecules and gases with complex interactions, each with its own mass and energy. Every time we move, we're pushing through billions of molecules, and they're constantly reacting to the gravity of the Earth, pressure changes, and energy from cosmic rays. We're moving through a medium that, under certain rare conditions, might even warp reality itself. Could a wormhole exist in the atmosphere? It sounds fantastical, but in theory, yes. Wormholes are generally thought of as hypothetical tunnels in space-time, connecting distant points in space. Scientists believe that such phenomena would be possible in areas where gravity is extremely high or where intense energy interacts with matter. Our atmosphere, with its ever-moving particles, gravity's influence and complex energy fields, could contain tiny distortions or glitches in space-time. If the conditions align just right, intense magnetic fields, high-energy particles, unusual pressure gradients, a temporary wormhole or atmospheric tear might open. We might not see it, but sudden disturbances in flight instruments or strange visual phenomena could hint at these fleeting distortions. Perhaps those who have vanished in the Bermuda Triangle slipped through one of these tears, even if only momentarily. The air itself could also open up in ways that challenge our understanding of reality. When atmospheric conditions align just right, certain regions in the air might temporarily act as strange bubbles or voids. For example, under intense electromagnetic conditions, air particles might supercharge, creating something akin to electric fog or the supernatural glow of St. Elmo's fire. This eerie light has long haunted sailors and pilots, but it may just be static electricity amplified by the magnetic conditions of the triangle. Pilots have reported sensations of floating, a sense of being in two places at once, or even time feeling out of sync. Some scientists believe that this strange fog could distort reality, making it feel as if the atmosphere itself has opened up, drawing them into an unknown space. Think about how air bends and refracts light, a natural lens that changes our perception. On certain rare days, warm and cool air layers interact to create vivid mirages, bending light in ways that make objects appear displaced or duplicated. This atmospheric lensing could theoretically distort our sense of depth, even affecting time perception if combined with magnetic fields. These distortions wouldn't just be optical. In regions like the Bermuda Triangle, where electromagnetic fields fluctuate wildly, an atmospheric lens could alter not just what pilots see, but how they experience time and space. Imagine flying into one of these pockets where reality itself shifts and bends, creating sensations so surreal they defy all logic. Now take this further on a quantum level. Air particles are constantly moving, popping in and out of existence in minuscule quantum fluctuations. At a microscopic scale, our atmosphere is never entirely stable. Particles exist in multiple states at once, flickering between positions. These quantum-level glitches are usually too tiny to impact our everyday lives. But in rare, high-energy situations, like powerful magnetic storms, massive pressure shifts, or strong electromagnetic fields, quantum fluctuations could, in theory, scale up to create visible anomalies. Imagine an area of atmosphere where particles suddenly begin to move in ways that defy standard physics, a small pocket where light, sound, and gravity shift. Pilots or sailors moving through this region might feel as if they've entered a different state, like reality itself is behaving in new and unpredictable ways. Even more intriguingly, drastic atmospheric pressure changes could create temporary walls or pockets of dense air that feel almost solid. Think of how a plane experiences turbulence, hitting invisible pockets of pressure. Under rare conditions, sudden shifts in air density can create what feels like an invisible wall, trapping planes or pushing them off course. Some pilots flying in the Bermuda Triangle have described the sensation of hitting an unseen force, as if pushed or even stuck mid-air. Combined with high magnetic fields or gravitational pulls, these pockets of dense air could act as invisible obstacles, disrupting flight paths and creating the impression that something much larger is at work. If we look at the atmosphere as a living system full of moving parts, changing pressures, and fields of energy, it almost behaves like an ocean with hidden currents and unseen depths. Just as the ocean has rogue waves and powerful underwater currents, the atmosphere might contain unseen layers, currents, and regions where the laws of physics seem to stretch or bend. Under just the right combination of factors, pressure, energy, magnetic alignment, these hidden regions might act as gates or thresholds where conditions are just strange enough to make it feel as though a portal or wormhole has opened. Imagine flying through one of these atmospheric currents, suddenly feeling like you've entered a new space, as if the world you knew has shifted. The Bermuda Triangle, with its unique position in the Earth's magnetic field, its powerful underwater currents, and its exposure to cosmic rays, could be one of those rare places where these strange alignments come together. Our atmosphere is influenced not just by Earth's rotation, but by cosmic forces, solar flares, cosmic rays, and gravitational forces from beyond our planet. These forces interact with the magnetic field, creating zones where energy intensifies, matter behaves differently, and reality itself feels altered. The Bermuda Triangle might be a convergence point where these cosmic and atmospheric forces intersect, creating a realm where space-time, magnetism, and even air particles behave in ways that defy the ordinary. This means that while we live and breathe within this atmospheric ocean, we're still only beginning to understand its mysteries. In places like the Bermuda Triangle, these unseen forces might reveal a new dimension of reality, a hidden aspect of our world that surfaces only under rare, perfect conditions. Who knows what strange phenomena might be concealed in the very air around us, waiting for that precise alignment of conditions to open up, making the sky itself a gateway to the unknown. The atmosphere above the Bermuda Triangle could contain unstable air pockets or sky holes that form under certain conditions, particularly due to the Earth's rotation, air currents, and the area's unique electromagnetic characteristics. In theory, A sky hole is a temporary rift where gravity, magnetic fields, and atmosphere combine to weaken the natural structure of space-time. If a plane entered one of these atmospheric rifts, it might experience temporary gravitational distortions or even a shift in time. Scientists have discovered methane hydrate deposits beneath the seafloor in parts of the Bermuda Triangle, and there is scientific evidence showing that these deposits occasionally release methane gas into the water. However, while we know this phenomenon is real and theoretically possible, there is no conclusive proof that methane releases are directly responsible for the sudden, unexplained disappearances of ships and planes in the Bermuda Triangle. When these deposits release methane gas, the gas forms bubbles that rapidly rise to the surface, and if the release is large enough, it can drastically lower the water's density in the immediate area. In theory, this could cause ships to lose buoyancy and sink almost instantly. For aircraft flying low, a large burst could, in theory, create a powerful upward thrust of air or turbulence that destabilizes flight. However, while the theory is scientifically plausible and has been replicated in controlled experiments, we have yet to capture a real-life event where a methane bubble causes such effects on ships or planes in the Bermuda Triangle. Observing such an event directly, or finding concrete evidence of ships and planes affected in this way, remains challenging. So, while methane bursts could be a factor in some disappearances, we can't say for certain that they're the definitive cause of the Bermuda Triangle's mysterious events. While we may never fully understand the Bermuda Triangle, the recent cases and unexplained phenomena keep us questioning what lies hidden in this vast and dangerous zone. The combination of magnetic anomalies, gravitational shifts, rogue waves, and atmospheric disturbances forms a unique area that defies the ordinary and may well be one of Earth's most mysterious voids. With every new disappearance, we're reminded of the possibility that something beyond our current understanding might be at work here, reminding us that there are still realms of our world, even in the age of technology, that resist explanation. Thousands of miles away in the Pacific Ocean, another triangle, the Devil's Sea off Japan's coast, has its own history of lost ships, missing planes, and strange electromagnetic disturbances. Like the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea has inspired tales of unusual forces, with magnetic fields so strong they're said to warp compasses and instruments. Could it be that in these mysterious regions, natural forces are operating in ways we don't yet understand? One theory that has gained attention is the idea of voids in the sky, temporary zones where the fabric of space-time may thin or warp under certain conditions. Think about it. Earth is a massive, rotating object, constantly moving through space. This movement influences the atmosphere, the magnetic field, and gravitational forces around us. When a plane reaches high speeds or flies at a particular altitude, could it be interacting with these forces in ways that create temporary distortions, perhaps a bubble or a pocket in the atmosphere that leads somewhere else? As Earth spins and moves through space, its rotation and gravity create shifting patterns in our atmosphere. It's possible that at high altitudes, specific conditions could produce thin spots in the fabric of reality, areas where the usual rules of physics don't quite apply. Picture a web with certain strands stretched thinner than others, invisible yet present. As planes or ships move through these regions, they might inadvertently cross into one of these thin spots. Could this be what happened to Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which vanished from radar without warning? There's another phenomenon to consider: gravity waves. These are ripples in space-time caused by massive objects moving in space. Earth's gravitational pull itself creates waves that affect the atmosphere, causing disturbances. Some scientists speculate that certain high-speed objects, like airplanes, might interact with these waves under rare conditions, creating an effect similar to turbulence but far more intense. It could be that the pilots experience a brief ripple in time itself, a ripple that momentarily alters their perception, displaces them from their original path, or even makes them vanish altogether. This brings us back to the idea of portals, regions where space-time may briefly warp and allow for jumps between points in space or even between dimensions. In 1972, Eastern Airlines Flight 401 was flying over the Everglades in Florida when strange phenomena began to occur. Instruments malfunctioned, and the pilots reported feeling a sense of disorientation. A storm surrounded the plane, and the next thing they knew, their radio had lost contact with ground control. Though the flight ultimately crashed due to a mechanical issue, the series of events added fuel to theories about natural disturbances in the sky. But what about cases where planes reappear as if nothing happened? Japanese Airlines Flight 1628 was flying over Alaska when the pilots saw enormous lights hovering nearby. Instruments began behaving erratically, and communication with air traffic control became distorted. After the strange lights vanished, the instruments returned to normal and the flight landed safely. Incidents like these suggest that while these phenomena may briefly affect objects, they don't always cause total disappearance. Instead, the objects may be caught momentarily in an altered state, returning once the disturbance passes. Imagine if these occurrences were brief rips in space-time, events that, while momentary, allow for objects to be displaced. Picture a bubble forming in the air, like a balloon expanding and contracting quickly. As it does, anything that passes through might be shifted off course or experience a change in time itself. Consider the case of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, a modern mystery that, even after years of investigation, remains unsolved. The plane vanished from radar en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, with 239 people on board, leaving only scattered debris and countless unanswered questions. Some believe that a mechanical failure, pilot error, or even deliberate human action caused the plane's disappearance. But the circumstances around MH370 have led many to speculate about more extraordinary possibilities, especially given the lack of concrete evidence and the puzzling changes in its flight path before it disappeared from radar. What if flight MH370 entered one of these atmospheric voids or anomalies? It's possible in theory that it flew through an area where electromagnetic fields or gravitational forces were unusually strong, creating conditions that might disrupt navigation and communication. Pilots have reported strange experiences in areas known for electromagnetic interference compasses spinning uncontrollably, sudden loss of radio contact, or inexplicable shifts in altitude or direction. These anomalies are rare, but when they occur, they seem to affect planes in ways that defy conventional explanations. In the case of MH370, some believe it may have encountered one of these areas of high electromagnetic energy or gravitational distortion, which could have affected its instruments, communications, and even visibility. MH370's mystery, like those surrounding the Bermuda Triangle, raises questions about what we understand about our atmosphere, gravity, and space-time. If these voids, anomalies, or distortions are indeed real, they could reveal why certain regions are linked to unusual events and missing aircraft. And while we may not have definitive evidence linking MH370's disappearance to a wormhole or atmospheric anomaly, the lack of traditional explanations forces us to consider possibilities that stretch beyond conventional physics. The skies may contain more than we currently comprehend, pockets of reality where, under rare and perfect conditions, the laws we know seem to bend or even break, leaving us with questions that no modern technology or search efforts have been able to answer. There's also a theory that MH370 encountered a natural phenomenon similar to a wormhole, a localized and temporary rift in space-time. While this sounds like science fiction, Micro-wormholes are theorized to exist in high-energy environments. If such a rift opened in MH370's path, even for just a few seconds, the aircraft could have experienced a powerful gravitational or spatial shift. In the case of micro-wormholes, objects are not always transported to entirely different locations, but the intense forces involved might temporarily disrupt an object's stability, creating a twist in space where it passes through a point of no return. Such an anomaly could potentially cause the plane to vanish from radar, momentarily suspended in a pocket of space where radio signals and tracking systems no longer apply. Quantum mechanics supports this idea, at least in theory. There are known particles that can exist in two places at once or disappear and reappear. If this happens at a quantum level, could it also occur on a larger scale? There's another idea, one rooted in the laws of relativity. As an object moves faster, time itself slows down for it relative to an observer. Though planes don't approach light speed, some believe that traveling at high speeds in certain atmospheric conditions might create a localized bubble of slow time. For the plane inside this bubble, time would pass differently than for the world around it. If a plane entered such a bubble, it could explain why some pilots report odd time lapses or feeling like they've lost control. These theories also open up new philosophical questions. Could these thin spots or voids represent cracks in our reality? Are they remnants of an older world, a parallel reality, or even an entry point into another dimension? If we think of reality as layered, it's possible that certain conditions might unlock these layers, allowing objects to move between them. In the end, the skies may hold more secrets than we realize. What we currently view as isolated mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle, Flight MH370, the Devil's Sea, might be hints of a larger pattern, a cosmic dance between Earth's atmosphere and unseen forces that shape our reality. There may be invisible pathways, intersections in the atmosphere where, under just the right conditions, objects slip briefly into another state. For now, these explanations remain largely theoretical, a blend of quantum mechanics, gravitational physics, and our own desire to make sense of the unexplainable. But as science advances and our understanding of space-time deepens, we may one day uncover the truth behind these mysteries. Until then, the skies will continue to fascinate us, inviting us to explore, question, and maybe even believe in the possibility that not all disappearances are accidents or coincidences. Instead, they might be encounters with the unknown, an invitation to look up and wonder what hidden forces shape the reality around us.